Okay, this is the professor. I'm back, and we're going to, in our second lesson about income disparity. And in this lesson, I want to start out by talking about a thing called ZIRP, which is zero interest rate policy. And that's where the Federal Reserve has, throughout this financial crisis, has brought the interest rates down that they charge banks to loan to them, and it's anywhere from 0 to 0.25%. Now, it sounds like a good idea, and basic media and Federal Reserve will sell that to the people, saying, well, this is going to bring down interest rates you'll pay on mortgages, which is true, but it really hasn't brought down the interest rates on credit cards and other things like that, loans to individuals. But banks can go and they can borrow from the Federal Reserve at almost free money. So basically, it's 0% to them, and then they can go out and they can invest those funds and earn a return, even if they invest it into Treasury bonds, which let's say 5-year, 10-year is now at 2.7% for a 10-year bond. They can invest it in that and get a return on their money, because basically they're borrowing for free. But what this does is zero interest rate policy. It actually hurts savers. And the reason is, you know this, if you look at your checking account or CDs that you have, their interest rate that you're earning is like 0.15% or something like that. And so basically savers, which is usually middle to the lower income, rely on savings to increase their wealth. And so they save, they expect a return on their money, and they're not getting that. So actually what's happening right now is there's a big wealth transfer going on, and what it is, it's from the savers to the banks. And it's also to people that are underwater on their mortgages, or others that are in the business of homes, real estate. So what it's doing is it's hurting savers, not able to earn a good interest rate on their money, and it's giving it to banks who can invest it in homes or in the stock market or other assets. And so what that's doing is actually, if you notice, the stock market and Dow Jones Industrial NASDAQ are up. So all assets, call it asset bubble. It's increasing the value of those, but savers are actually not getting the return they should be. And so now the next thing I want to talk about is taxes, and how taxes play into the increase in income disparity. And what you have, I don't know if you remember back in the election where they looked at Romney's tax returns, and he was basically paying an effective tax rate of about 15%. And he's earning millions of dollars a year. And why can that be? And so there's two different kinds of taxation. It depends on the type of income. So there's earned income, and there's investment income. And they're treated differently in the tax code. Okay, so the earned income, under about $9,000, you're taxed at 10%. And then, if you're a middle income person, I think it's from $9,000 to about $38,000. You get up to the 15%. And then it goes to 20, 25, 30, 33, and I think 39 something, 39.4 or something like that percent when you're over $400,000. So these type of taxes, they hit people that are employees or they're small business owners that aren't incorporated, basically. And so investment income, this can have, there's two different rates, basically. There is a rate that if it's a short-term investment, let's say a person goes out and buys stock and they sell it in less than a year and make a profit on it, they're going to pay exactly the same rate as their earned income would be, depending on their tax, what's called a tax bracket of of their gross, their total earnings during the year. And so that's less than 1 year. If it's more than 1 year, it's treated as a long-term investment, and it gets preferential treatment in the tax code. And so it could be 15%, or it could be, I believe, 20% if you earn over $400,000. So basically, the upper income person is going to be taxed at 20%, and anybody underneath that, whatever that number is, about 15%. So you can see, if I've accumulated some wealth, and now I'm not working for somebody else, or I don't have a small business, like Romney was, he is now living basically off his accumulated wealth that he's invested in the stock market, invested in municipal bonds, and other tax avoiding schemes, is that he can actually pay less, even though he's earning, I can't remember exactly what he earned, but let's say he earns $10 million a year, he's paying 15% effective tax rate on that $10 million. But if a person down here has a small business, they're paying 39%. Okay, so what it does is the tax code is being used to stifle competition to the person that's the higher income earning. So basically, they treat income differently, and the tax code is favoring a person with investment income, which is accumulated wealth, I'm calling it, versus the person that's trying to accumulate wealth. It actually hurts them more. So that's why the Republican Party was always talking about the income tax rate is important, because it's affecting the person that is in the middle and the lower income trying to move up in income. And it's actually, in my mind, these should both be treated the same. Income is income and should be taxed exactly the same, whether you're getting it off of bonds and stocks as an investment, or if you are going out and working 8 to 12 hours a day. Actually, in my mind, this should be should be a lower tax rate than the investment income. But there's all kinds of ideas on this thing here. So the other thing is that, so in the media you hear the solution to income disparity is tax the rich. Okay, you'll hear that from everybody. That's the general consensus, that the rich should pay more, and I agree to a point. But it's actually a feel-good response. And actually, when we didn't extend the tax, or we did extend the Bush tax cuts, the whole thing was that the rich should pay a higher percentage. But what they're talking about is the earned income. And so tax the rich, when they say that in the media and politicians, they're actually taxing individuals, the lower income individuals, and small business. And what we want is, we want more competition in the economy, and we want the small businessman or woman to be able to compete with the higher income. And so taxing the rich really isn't do it. What we need to do is we need to tax the investment income the same as earned income. Okay? So it's a feel-good response, and it won't bring in enough taxes. You can tax the rich all you want, and it's not going to bring in enough to really make a dent in the deficit. But what it will do is taxing them the same, these groups of people, it's the same, or even taxing this group less, is going to make competition in the economy better, and that's going to benefit consumers and taxpayers in the long run. So in summary, maybe I'm going to stop right here, and then we'll have a third session. We're going to go over a summary, and then we'll have some solutions. So I'm going to cut this lesson off, and thank you very much for listening. And remember always to go out and think about what I'm saying. Go out and research yourself on websites, and read and think about both sides of the argument, and come to your own conclusion. Thank you.